Hey there guys, I'm Giga Nerd and I'll be giving you a review on One Piece episode 1120 that just came out today. Stay until the end if you want to hear my theory on who's the next person to make a move. Whatever he chooses to say will definitely impact the world and put a target on his back. Want to know who I'm talking about? Stay till the end to find out it's not who you're thinking. The episode starts with Sabo seriously injured, running away from Marioa while being pursued by those Marioa guards. One of the guards finds Sabo and attacks him. Who the hell does he think he is? As if he would be able to capture Sabo alone. Sabo just steals his clothes and comes down the red line disguised. He then hides in the ship that was going to Lulusia, and that's how he runs away from Marioa. Now, you might be thinking, weren't 5 Gorosei and Imu pursuing him? And 2 admirals in Marioa as well? Then how does it make sense for Sabo to be able to flee from Marioa so easily? Well, the answer is simple. The Gorosei don't want the world to know they are monsters. Imu doesn't want the world to know he exists, and the admirals weren't aware of what was happening with Sabo. We then see the Alabasta guards looking for Vivi and King Cobra. The world government is keeping everything about them hidden. As we know, Vivi is with Wapol and they already went down the red line. They are keeping themselves hidden, even from Marines. They decide to get inside a box that was going to Igi's kingdom, running away from that place. While Vivi wants to tell the world what she saw at the reverie, Wapol is much more scared and doesn't want that to happen, afraid that the government will kill him. Wapol remembers that he has a Den Mushi and decides to call Morgan's big news as he might be able to take them from that boat and help them escape. They decide to cooperate. Wapol gets a way out of there and Morgan's gets the story. Nothing could make Morgan's happier than a good story, so that's my whole point in this video. Depending on what Wapol and Vivi tell Morgan's, and I hope they tell him everything, and depending on which of those news he decides to publish, and depending on how he paints the story, because we all know how he manipulates people's minds with his news. Depending on all that, Morgan's might be the one to truly shake the word. He might become one of the most wanted people in the world, together with Dragon, Luffy, Robin, Sabo, Teach, and Vivi. He will have in his hands all he needs to turn the world upside down. The most dramatic news he has ever heard will be told to the world by him. It's truly just to show you how powerful a journal can be, how impactful, how important, and most of all, how manipulative the news we hear can be, and how those news can shape our lives and the world itself. Returning to the episode, we see that, apart from the Alabasta guards, CP0 is also looking for Vivi and Marioa, and looking for Sabo at the bottom of the red line. So, in that day, the day of the reverie, 4 people escaped Marioa. Vivi and Wapol escaped in the ship from Igi's kingdom. Sabo escaped in the ship from Lulusia Kingdom, and Bonnie escaped in the ship from Tajin Kingdom. Going back to Marioa, we see the Gorosei talking. They mention Sabo, saying that there's no one surrounded by the D more than him. They talk with Imu, and Imu says he wants to use the Mother Flame invented by Vegapunk. They need to know if it really works or not. While the Gorosei want to test it in land, in an inhabited place, Imu demands to try it in Lulusia. Surprised and reluctant, the Gorosei initially show some confusion as to the reason of Imu choosing Lulusia. Testing the weapon in Lulusia serves 2 purposes: testing the weapon and showing the world that no nation has the power to dare defy the world government, as Lulusia is showing signs of rebellion against the world government. As a final request, Imu demands the Gorosei to bring him Vivi. We then learn about the names of the Gorosei. Saint Jagarkia Saturn, Godhead of Science and Defense, Saint Marcus Mars, Godhead of Environment, Saint Topman Warcury, Godhead of Justice, Saint Ethan Baron V. Nusjuru, Godhead of Finance, and Saint Shepherd Jew Peter, Godhead of Agriculture. Nice to see that they don't serve all the same purpose. Each of them is responsible for one particular aspect, and now we know why Saturn was the one called to Egghead. It makes sense since he is the Godhead of Science and Egghead is a futuristic island. After the events of the reverie, some nations around the world started to show signs of rebellion, and Akainu deploys the remaining Seraphins and Navy soldiers to take care of those revolutions. We see 3 new Seraphins, the Seraphins resembling Mora, Crocodile, and Doflamingo. Returning to the meeting of Sabo, Dragon, and Ivankov, Sabo tells them everything about Marijoa and also about Lulusia. He wasn't on the island when the kingdom was erased, but he could see it from the ship. Sabo tells them that a giant shadow covered the sky, and it was responsible for the attack in Lulusia. It can't be something natural or biological, so it has to be a weapon. Ivankov says that the only one that could make such a weapon is Vegapunk, but Vegapunk would never do something like that, so the last option remaining is that it is an ancient weapon. Ivankov also states that among the 20 kings who created this world 800 years ago, there was one called Imu from Nerona Kingdom. He tells Sabo about the ability to make someone immortal, certainly referring to the surgery of immortality performed by the user of the Opi Opi no Mai, possessed by law at this moment. If we know about this ability, it's because it has been used once before, so Imu can be immortal and could be living since the Void Century 800 years ago. Returning to Marijoa, we get the news that a celestial dragon has been executed. It was Mayo's guard, and his crime was siding with the lower life forms to protect them. But who, among every person in the world, has the authority to execute a celestial dragon? That's when we have the highlights of the episode, the revelation of the Supreme Commander of the Holly Knights, St. Figurlin Garling, a man once known as the Champion of God Valley. For those who saw One Piece movie Red, you might have heard the name Figurlin before. It's because Shanks also has this same name. This could explain why Shanks got a meeting with the Gurozi, and why Sengoku agreed with his demands to stop the war in Marineford 2 years ago. Now my final remarks about the chapter. I really liked it a lot, so I'll give it a 99 out of 100, only because we all thought that Garling would have either white hair for being old or red hair like Shanks, but instead Toad decided to give as a blonde Garling just why. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you don't care to help, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and leave on a comment down below to let me know where I can get better. Thanks. This was Giga Nerd in here, and this was the review of One Piece episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and please come back for more.